10 hard truths nobody told me about life, music, and getting older. Now, if you're young, you might think time is on your side. And if you're not so young, well, you already know the truth. I've played in stadiums, been broke in hotel rooms, made records, lost friends, and kept going. Today, I want to share 10 hard truths no one told me, but that I damn sure wish they had. Now, whether you're a musician, a creative, or just someone trying to live with purpose, these are for you. Truth number one, survival is not living. There were years I was surviving, paying bills, gigging nonstop, but I wasn't really living. If you're waking up dreading every day, it's time to change something. This is a powerful, powerful number one, right out of the gate, hitting hard, all right? Here's the deal, man. I know people right now that are surviving, right? They're working 5, 6, 7 days a week, playing, gigging nonstop. They're dreading going into work. They're dreading what they're doing. Don't ever let the music business do that to you. Don't let the music business steal your joy. Look, I know there's a lot of people on the grind in downtown Nashville, working Broadway and all that, man. And if you're doing something like that 7 days a week, trying to pay your very expensive mortgage or your very expensive rent, man, that is a brutal grind. And I just do not know how somebody does that. How can you avoid having to do that? Well, first of all, you've got to figure out a way to live and not have a very high overhead. So you're going to have to live in dumps. You're going to have to, have roommates. You're going to have to go through a lot before you can get to a point where you're elevated and can do a little bit more than just survive. If you're young, just starting out, man, it's extremely tough right now. And I'm not going to pull any punches in telling you that it's going to be an easy road and you're going to be just, living the dream, as we say. Because let me tell you something. The phrase living the dream, right? That becomes the joke. That becomes the mantra to players on the road. You go, oh, how you doing today? And your bus is broken down on the road, or the gig is canceled because of extreme weather, or there's something happened tragic at the gig, and people will say, oh, how's it going? You say, living the dream. And that is the reality, man. Sometimes the dream can become a nightmare if you're not happy with where you are. If you're grinding away, trying to make ends meet, that is just survival, not living. Now, here is harsh truth number 2. Talent isn't enough. And this I cannot stress more than anything. Look, a lot of people think that all they have to do is be great. All they have to do is practice all day, and surely someone will give them an opportunity. Surely someone will try to help them. Well, look, let me just tell you something. Here's a bold reality to learn. There are times, and there have been times in the past, where labels would sign an artist that was great. They would sign them because they were great, but they had signed them with no intention of ever putting them out. Why would they sign them? They would sign them because they're incredibly good, but they've already invested a ton of money into another group who is doing the same thing that this new signing is doing. and their purpose for signing you is to put you on the shelf. I've had people tell me this in the comments that it's happened to them. I've heard it happening to other guitar players in the past where they were signed and kept on a shelf or given very small deals to just keep them at a certain level while the label chooses to elevate somebody who they've already got way more money invested in. Look, I've played with monsters, players who could melt faces. Most of them, I would say almost all of them, never made it because talent doesn't get you there. Work ethic, attitude, timing, that's what moves the needle. And look, it's kind of even become a revelation to me over time. Some of the people that are the most successful that I know, artists that are still, even when their band breaks up, they're hustling. They're always hustling. These are people that make connections with people. These are people that nurture friendships. These are people that are on the phone or texting or messaging or emailing constantly people, one, to provide friendship, but two, knowing that friendship presents opportunity, right? If you just happen to be emailing somebody and they say, "Oh, by the way, I need a player for this gig," or, "Hey, I've got a song idea. Maybe you'd be the guy to come work and write this song with me." Staying in people's ears is work, right? And many musicians like to withdraw in themselves and sit in that room and practice those phrases over and over again. That's not going to get you anywhere. And the reality is this: more people might be willing to not draw attention to what you're doing. No one's going to go, "Oh, you're amazing. Come on, we'll open the door. Here you go. Here's your Lamborghini and here's your record deal." No, the reality is if you're really great, you're good looking, you got everything going for you, people are going to largely, on that lower level, try to keep you down. They're not going to lift you up. They'd have to be a saint to want to do that because you might hinder their success. This is the reality. Talent isn't enough. And I've got a video in depth on this subject in my members section. Here's harsh truth number 3. Nobody owes you anything. The industry doesn't owe you. The audience doesn't owe you. It's brutal, but freeing when you get it, because then you take the wheel. No one's going to give you anything. That's the reality. The audience isn't going to just automatically give you applause. You have to earn it every single night. How do you earn it? You show up on time. You play the best you can. You play in tune, in time. You play with a smile on your face. You project positivity out to the audience, not a dour face staring at the floor, just shredding away. Look, man, I know players that have immense talent and immense ability, but zero ability to connect with an audience. You have to be able to connect with an audience in order to build a following. And just staring at your fingers and blazing away is not going to do it. I mean, even a guy like Yngwie Malmsteen, who you could argue is maybe wasn't the most friendliest guy in the world and all that, but he was a master showman. He was giving people something on stage. He wasn't just staring at his shoes. He was working his butt off to get a response from the audience. Just like the audience doesn't owe you anything, the industry doesn't owe you anything either. Just because you're great, it doesn't mean anything. You're going to have to go out there and show them that you're a go-getter. You're going to have to go out there and work. Show them that you're willing to do the hard work. Show them that you're willing to, work the phones and call people and promote. Look, man, The guys up in Canada, the Nickelback, they went around and called the radio stations and the record stores and everything themselves because nobody else would do the work. You're going to have to put in serious work if you're going to make it. Harsh truth number 4. Being alone is part of the journey. You're going to lose friends. Some will leave, some will drift. You have to be okay walking some roads alone. But trust me, better people show up. Now, here's the reality, man. And this goes the same for relationships. You're going to have to realize that not everybody is going to go on this journey with you. If you find somebody early in life who's willing to go through all this, the ups and downs and all the craziness and madness that this business is going to present you with, then you've found a saint, and you better be good to them and you better be kind to them, because most people just won't stick around. And this can be a brutal thing, because if it's somebody that you really care about, you might realize that you lost the one thing that you loved, chasing your dreams. And that can be a brutal thing to go through. You're going to get depressed. You're going to have times where you're completely alone. And look, loneliness can drive you mad. I understand deep and dark loneliness. And yes, I've been the life of the party. Yes, I've been the guy surrounded by people patting me on the back and all that. And look, they're there because you're in an elevated position. You're not always going to be in that elevated position. And when that elevated position drops you off at your home, and now all you have is the ceiling fan and the silence, you're going to realize how alone you truly are. Look, it's part of the journey. And look, in my case, I can honestly say better people show up. I'm in a better place now. But man, it could be incredibly tough. And some people might not be able to handle how alone you really will be. Harsh truth number 5. Direction is more important than speed. Chasing everything leads to nothing. I wasted years moving fast in the wrong direction. Figure out what matters, then move with purpose. And I will say this, man, you know, a lot of us that played the Sunset Strip back in the day, we were chasing everything that came to us. And look, the reality is the law of attraction. You need to draw people into your world. You don't need to be chasing anything. Nobody gave me this information when I was a kid. And I wish they had, because maybe then I could have stayed focused, not been scattered and chasing this and running to this and doing this and all this kind of stuff. You waste years moving fast. What do I mean by moving fast? Partying too much, too many women, too many, thrills, chasing this thing and chasing that thing and all that stuff. None of it was worth chasing for 1 second. None of that mattered. What mattered was writing great songs. What mattered was, putting in the work. What mattered was working phones, and not working the phones to call the latest Susie McCream cheese, right? Working the phones to make connections, to further yourself in your career. That is more important, because your direction is way more important than the speed that you act. Now, here is one of the most important messages I can tell anyone. Harsh truth number 6, reinvent or rot. This is deep, man. And I can honestly say this may be my greatest skill I've always been a musical chameleon. I've always been able to adapt to different situations because look, man, trends come and go. Music largely stays the same. It's the same scales. It's the same chords. It's the same rhythms. Yes, it either gets more advanced or it gets less advanced or whatever. But look, I've been in hair bands, blues bands, funk bands, country bands, rap. I've done rap, studio gigs, YouTube videos, wedding bands, corporate bands, touring with country artists, you name it. I've done every single one. I may be, of all the YouTube guys, I may be the one guy that's pretty much done everything. Might not have mastered any one thing. I might not have been the master studio guy. I might not have been the master blues band guy, but I've done it. I've been there. I've done it. I've been able to adapt. I've been able to pick up the right guitar for the job, right? Show up, be in time, be in tune, and ready to play, right? And this is the way. The only way I've stayed in the game is by evolving. Staying the same is death in music and in life. And I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I only like metal, or I only like this, or I only like that. Man, prepare yourself for a short career. Prepare yourself for having to do something else, because you've got to learn to love all music. Find enjoyment in playing all styles. There's something about it you can focus on, even the most simplest song. Let's say you're the most advanced jazz guitarist in the world. Learn how to enjoy playing a simple song and playing it over and over and over again. Because if you do not reinvent, if you insist on only doing one thing, then you will rot. Harsh truth number 7, music is therapy, not just work. The industry will chew you up and spit you out. Your guitar, your bass, your drums, your keyboards, your voice, that becomes your anchor. Play for you sometimes, right? It's how I made it through some of the darkest years. You can't always play for somebody else. Look, when you're at home and you don't have 40 songs to learn in 2 days or whatever, that's when you work on what you want to do. That's when you work on your goals. And your playing and your goals, it has 2 different sides, right? Music that makes you money and music that is therapy for your soul, because the industry will chew you up. The industry will break you down. The industry will have you questioning, why am I doing this? But playing guitar for the beauty of it, playing bass for the therapy of it, playing drums, whatever instrument you play, that will be the thing that will pull you through tough times. Get back on that horse, my friend, when you fall down. Get back on that diving board after you've, landed incorrectly and hurt yourself. Get back off. Shake it off and keep going. Harsh truth number 8. Money comes and goes. Time doesn't. I've made good money. I've lost it. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. Don't waste your years on people or jobs that drain your soul. And this is powerful stuff, man. Whether it's your day gig or your gig that you're playing on the road, we can all be stuck in a position and working with people that drain us, that we don't enjoy. And look, life is incredibly short. Life is incredibly gone just like that. And the reality is you don't have time to waste your years on that. Make moves. Make moves to work and play with people that you enjoy working with. Don't let, money drain your soul and your life force. Your life force, and your time is worth way more than money. And look, you may end up having to play gigs that you don't particularly like, right? Make sure that you're compensated well for it, because your time ultimately is the most valuable thing you have. Truth number 9, getting older is a gift. Every wrinkle, every scar, every failed gig earned. Aging isn't a curse. It's your proof you're still swinging. Now I'm still swinging, and here I am on YouTube. And look, it might be different than playing gigs. It might be different than going on the road. It might be different than going in the studio and playing on somebody's record. But it's all part of the journey. And yes, I'm getting older. Getting older is a gift. Not everybody gets that chance. I know people that were back on the Sunset Strip that were 20-some years old, and a couple years later, they're gone. They're gone. So consider yourself lucky if you've made it to this point. You've earned every single mark on your face. You've earned every single gray hair. And you know what? You're better for it. It's made you a better person, a wiser person, and now you can stand with pride and dignity that you made it, because time escapes no one. And number 10, truth number 10, maybe the most important thing. You matter more than you think. If you're watching this, doubting yourself, you're not alone. I've doubted myself too, but you were put here for a reason. Maybe it's music, maybe it's helping others, but your story ain't over yet. I want this message to inspire people. I want it to help those that are young and on their journey. I want it to help us older people that are being here. And look, you know what? I might have thought my journey was over when I got off the road and I got into the corporate and wedding band scene and I'm playing those gigs. And man, I could have just finished my career doing that, right? But I saw where that ends. I saw how, on that last gig, I've seen guys on their last gig coughing into a handkerchief and bent over and eking out their last notes. And I knew that I had a greater purpose than that. And here I am now, reaching out to you and telling you that you matter more than you think. What you're doing is important, and don't ever forget it. Now look, if any one of these truths hit home, leave a comment and tell me which one. And if you're still here, you're one of the real ones. Subscribe, hang out. Let's keep the fire burning. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching.